When I first got my C70, I tested the effectiveness of the digital IS, and you can check out that video up there. The results were, it works all right, not super great, but the glitches aren't all that bad. Well, 1 year later, I've used it a lot, and now I very intimately understand the 2 times when you should use it, and the 2 instances where you should really be afraid. And I discovered a solution for when it does glitch out on you, which I honestly can't believe I didn't know until now. Welcome to Sounded Out Films. My name is Eric. I am a cinematographer based in Boston. My recommendation at the end of that video was to stabilize your footage in post instead, because you just have more flexibility when you can refine the amount of stabilization you want on each shot. However, I did not follow my own advice. Whenever shooting handheld, I would think to myself, I might end up warp stabilizing this in Premiere anyway. Might as well save myself the time and just bake it in camera. I've also been pretty much only using primes for the past year for any project I really care about, and none of those lenses have stabilization built in, so that also made digital IS a bit more appealing. I successfully used it on a couple of music videos, and then when I spent a month filming a documentary this year, I had it enabled pretty frequently. For stylistic and logistical reasons, I pretty much shot this entire film handheld. But the decision to use the digital IS was predicated on the fact that I was not afraid of glitches. Because in my original testing, it took a while of baiting the camera to track my cell phone on a nondescript background for it to really happen, and it did not scare me off, although it probably should have. Shooting that much footage all day, every day, for weeks on end, did lead me to some glitches. But here are the times when I still decided to use it. First, for wide establishing shots. It's pretty amazing that if you don't have a tripod and you're just trying to get a steady, static wide, turning on digital IS will smooth it right out. But change that static wide to a moving medium, where the camera operator is moving and the subject is moving, it still works. It might look a little jerky at times, but you don't have any micro jitters, and that's a win in my book. But now here are the 2 instances where you do not want to use it. First, when your subject is moving slightly in a close shot and the camera is stationary. The digital IS assumes that the camera is the one moving and will lock on to that subject. It turns into a Beats music video, and not in a cool way. That's the first of 2 instances where it will mess you up. The second, I actually didn't notice while I was filming, but I caught while editing this film, and it's caused by whenever you have enough movement in the camera to cause significant motion blur. For instance, if you're in a concert venue and your monopod is touching a floor that is vibrating from the sound system, even if the digital IS does perfectly center your subject, the shake with a 180-degree shutter, you cannot avoid the motion blur and you will have blurry frames. If you look at that microphone on the left, you can see that the highlight gets wider when there's motion blur and then shrinks back down to normal size. But for either of these glitches, there is a good solve: setting a custom button to digital IS pause. To be honest, I'm kind of mad at myself for not knowing this feature existed until today. I filmed this entire documentary with digital IS either on or off for an entire scene, not knowing I had the flexibility to simply pause it whenever it gave me issues. Learn from my mistakes and set a custom button. One other important thing to keep in mind with digital IS is that your lens focal length matters, or at least the focal length that the camera thinks your lens is really matters. Modern lenses will just communicate this information. All of my Sigmas, for example, gray out the lens millimeter selection. It just automatically knows the focal length of the lens and then does its digital processing based off that. However, if you're using older adapted vintage lenses, like my Helios 58mm I was using for most of this documentary, you have to plug it in manually. Let's run a test to see exactly how much this matters. So here is that 58mm lens with 0 stabilization, just handheld, 3 points of contact against my body. It's just tight enough to get those annoying micro jitters. So let's turn on digital IS with the correct focal length. I'll admit I have forgotten to change this in the past, so let's see what it looks like with a slightly wrong focal length, like 50mm. It still works, but I think it looks a bit more wobbly. Let's see what it looks like really off, like at 100mm. It's getting a little shaky. Let's try out 1000. Probably not what you want, but it could be cool for something like this. So if you're slightly off, it's not the end of the world, but it's definitely best practice to plug that in accurately. That's it. Subscribe if you're interested. Newsletter below, affiliate links, Instagram, all the things. Goodbye.